Here's my take on UFOs and aliens and extraterrestrials and whatnot. There's no doubt in my mind that there's intelligent life other than man in this entire universe. I mean, it would make absolutely no sense, and the probability is so low that we would be the only intelligent life in this gigantic universe that is so big we can't even comprehend how big it is. I mean, if you think about it, there are billions of stars in our galaxy, half of which have planets, and there are billions of galaxies within our universe and the known universe, and this is just a known universe. So mathematically, if you think about it, there are literally trillions, hundreds of trillions of planets. Why would we be the only one with intelligent life? We're not. Now, whether intelligent life has been here to visit us, and there is an alien UFO conspiracy within the government, it's a different story. There's some room for debate there. There's no longer room for debate on if we're alone in the universe. We're not. The greater that science grows and our understanding of the universe, I mean, it becomes so much less likely, the more we understand how infinite and vast this universe is, and how easy life can survive and thrive in even hostile conditions. I remember I read part of Bill Clinton's biography. It was written by one of his political advisors, which was Bill Clinton's, right-hand man. And Bill Clinton asked this advisor, when he got elected, which was his buddy, he said, "Hey, find me out two things. I want to know two things. I want to know who killed JFK, and I want to know what's the deal with aliens." Well, he found out the answer to JFK. It came back, Oswald killed JFK. As far as UFOs go, they got pushed around, and no one would give him a clear answer. Well, Clinton asked George Bush Sr., who was the intelligence director of the CIA. He was the head honcho of the CIA. Bill Clinton asked him directly, "Are UFOs real? What do we know about UFOs?" And George Bush Sr. said, "You don't have the right clearance, for top secret clearance, for me to have to answer that question, Mr. President." Bill Clinton said, "I'm the President of the United States. I want to know." And he said, "You are on a need-to-know basis, and right now you do not need to know." So obviously there is a government inside our government that is keeping a lid on the biggest story in human civilization, that we are not alone, that we have been visited, that there are extraterrestrial life. Now, how often we've gotten visited, the UFO conspiracies run very deep and far. They're pretty bad, but and it doesn't make a difference if one story, or most UFO sightings can be explained away by natural phenomena. But even if just one out of the hundreds of thousands of sightings are real, well, there you go. That's all it really takes. And in fact, there's something called the Disclosure Project, which is big on YouTube. You guys should check it out. And it's basically comprised of 400 to 500 mainly U.S. Ex-military, former military, current military, subsidized corporations that work for the military. People are coming forward in waves to swear under Congress, under penalties of perjury, which, of course, you'll go to jail if you're caught lying, that UFOs are real and to tell their story. And there's a 900-page book that's in the works right now about all people's testimony, credible people that have had lifetime careers in the U.S. military and whatnot, people that have no incentive to lie. In fact, if anything, people have been keeping things quiet for so long out of fear of ridicule. If you bring up the topics of UFOs, people usually laugh, and that's how this information can continue to stay underground, is due to ridicule. People are afraid to come forward. They don't want to be called crazy. They don't want to lose their reputations. Astronauts, for instance, many astronauts have seen UFOs in outer space. And they keep it quiet. They keep it quiet because they know if they say anything about it, well, they're never going to be an astronaut again. Same with commercial airline pilots. UFO sightings are fairly common with commercial airline pilots, yet they don't say anything, and they're told not to say anything if they want to keep flying, if they want to keep their jobs. Otherwise, they're considered crazy, and who's going to let a crazy person fly an airplane? So yeah, that's my take on UFOs. I think it's the biggest story in all of humanity, and hopefully, I think it's going to bust soon. There's been a lot of pressure on the U.S. government to what they call disclose their information about UFOs. And the French government, the Mexican government, Belgian government, and there's one other I forget, but they've come forward to say, yes, we know UFOs are real, and we want the U.S. to come forward and say it is too, because the U.S. apparently is sitting on technology that was back engineered and physical evidence that they're real. The former Minister of Canada, the former Prime Minister of Canada's National Defense, he's old now, but he was Prime Minister back in like the 80s, says, when he comes forward and talks about it, it's on YouTube too, he says, yes, UFOs are real, we know about it, we've chased them, we have plenty of ample evidence, military evidence that they're real, and we're just waiting for the U.S. to come and talk about it, because the U.S. has pretty much told everybody, don't say anything about it. It's a matter of national security. So, anyway, that's my take on UFOs. And Anton LaVey was a big UFO buff. One of Anton LaVey's personal friends was a guy named Jacques Vallée. And Jacques Vallée is a author, one of the head founders of the UFO research societies or whatever. And he wrote a book called The Morning of the Magicians. The Morning of the Magicians was a book talking about how it's very possible that there have been intelligent life before humans on this planet. And when they discovered space travel, and for whatever reason, they decided to take the fuck off, and they kind of seeded us. Interesting theory. I don't know if it's true, but it's an interesting theory. And, people who are skeptical and the naysayers about aliens and extraterrestrials usually use this as their argument. Well, even if there are intelligent life in the universe is so vast, and if we can only travel at the speed of light, the closest star is 40 light years away or whatever it is. It's impractical to travel to this planet as another species, even if they are out there. Well, here's what I got to say about that. True, using our known laws of physics, that would be impractical. It would be impossible. But our laws of physics change every 50 years. I mean, you got to remember, we think of how much humans have evolved within the last 200 years. We have electricity, we have space travel. We've discovered, how to split atoms. I mean, huge leaps in our technology and understanding have come about just in the last 200 years. 500 years ago, the smartest men in the world swore the world was flat and thought that everything revolved around the earth. So that just shows you how radical our ideas and philosophies can change in such a little amount of time. 200 years, 500 years is a drop of a hat. It's nothing, considering the length of our civilization. I mean, we've only been out of the jungle for like 30, 40, 50,000 years. We were dragging our knuckles and eating each other's shit 1,000,000 years ago. So if you think of how much more advanced our technologies will be in, say, 1,000 years. Fuck it, say 1,000,000 years. Say how far our technology will come in 1,000,000 years. Well, and there's your answer to that. Extraterrestrials, maybe 1,000,000 years evolved in us, and who's to say that they haven't figured out a way to go interdimensional travel, to bend space and time, kind of Star Trek, wormhole type, warp drive, whatever. We really don't know, but we know that that's possible. Even with our limited understanding of physics and our environment, we know that that's possible. We don't know how to do it. Well, you know what? Give us 1,000,000 years. Give us 50,000 years, and we'll see where we're at that point. So, that's to the naysayers about UFOs.